Hey guys, welcome to Unbiased Rugby. Today obviously Springbok edition, so I thought I'd talk about the team that maybe I would select for the third test against England. I think we're in a very fortunate position that we've won the series, and we've got an opportunity to try a few different things, but at the end of the day, a test is a test, and we should obviously always go for the win. So I've gone with a bit of experimenting, trying a few things. I'm not sure. Obviously, he's probably got a master plan, and obviously get paid the big bucks to obviously make these kind of decisions. But no, I just thought I'd give it a crack. I'll go through the team, and then if you guys can also comment on my team selection, maybe give your opinions on who do you think should be playing. From watching all the games, my biggest concern going forward has been defence, especially out wide, and our midfield. I did comment last time that I think they might still have an issue at tight head, but we might be solving that issue. I think we're slowly getting to a point where we've got sufficient tight heads to be able to compete. But yeah, let me go through the team that I've selected. Some of the selections may be a little bit strange, but I'm trying to think what Russie was saying, that he's looking at creating depth, and I think that's his goal going forward, is creating a lot more depth. Especially, we've got the English, we've got the last England test. We've got I think we've got 4 more tests until we meet New Zealand. I think that's and then generally that's the litmus test to see if you're on the right track or not. I don't think we're close to New Zealand yet. But like I said yet, because we will get there eventually. But let me go through the team, and I'll give you an idea of why I've chosen those players for those teams. So at number 1, I've actually selected Steven Kitshoff to start this week. I know he's a great impact player off the bench, but maybe he needs to start learning to play the 60 minutes, because I have noticed in Super Rugby that he does tire a lot. He's always on his got his hands on his knees and sucking in the big air. So I think it's time for him to play to start. Then I've got Bongi Mbonambi at number 2. I think we found a backup number 2. He's had an excellent series. He's thrown in straight. He's scrummed really well. He's in a lot of control of that front row. He's okay on the field, but he does his job, and he does his job well. I had selected Ivan van Zyl at the beginning of the tour, but I still think he's a great player, and he will be part of the future. I just think Bongi Mbonambi is probably our second choice hooker, and he should start all games that Malcolm Marx is not involved in. Then I've gone for Wilco Louw at tight head. It's quite interesting that I've chosen the Stormers front row. But maybe that's make him a lot more comfortable going forward. I know Makazole Mapimpi is gone home, so he won't be playing this weekend. I'm not sure who's going to be replacing him, but I think having a pretty rock solid front row is the way to go. Going to 4 and 5. Okay, what I've tried to do, guys, is I've tried to keep a lot of positions the same. Or maybe swap people that were on the bench and put them to start, and vice versa, and try bringing out some of the players that haven't played a lot of rugby just yet, and I think they deserve a bit of a chance. So I've still kept Franco Mostert at 4. I think he really stabilises that whole pack. He's very good at the calling, real workhorse. So I think he's the right person to keep that continuity. And here's my first big change. I've decided to I've put Marvin Orie at number 5. Even though I think Achia Snyman's had an epic start to introduction to international rugby, I think it's time that we maybe blood a few more locks. And he's played really well at Super Rugby, and I think it's time to create that depth. I've kept Siya Kolisi at 6 because he obviously is the captain. Here's my next big change. I've said bring in Oupa Mohojé at 7. I know a lot of people are quite polarized with Oupa, I think, but I think he's a great player. And it would be nice to start having some Pro 14 players also included in the Springbok squad, because they do bring a different kind of style of rugby that I think the Springboks would love to have, and I think he'd be able to take that kind of knowledge, that IP or whatever it's called, intellectual property, back to the Cheetahs. I've kept Duane Vermeulen at 8. You'll notice what I've tried to do is I've tried to keep the spine of the team the same, so I've kept 2, 8, 9, 10 and 15 the same, to try to give some stability to the thing, and then just playing with positions around that. So I've kept Duane Vermeulen at 8. He's played really well. I'm not sure if he'll play the full game. They'll probably bring somebody off the bench fairly quickly, but it's just to bring that kind of stability to. And I think he's a great. I'm not sure if he's vice captain or anything, but he's great backup for Siya. I've kept Faf at 9, even though he had a great first game, an okay second game. I'm hoping that he obviously finds a bit of stability. I think he's got the skills, he's got the pedigree, so I think he's the right player for that. I've kept Handré Pollard at 10. Try to keep that combination going, 8, 9, 10. That. So really try that stability in that part of the game. And here's my next 2 changes, big changes. I've actually decided to Makazole Mapimpi at 11. I still think I still rate him as a player. He has improved year on year. I know he was okay against Wales, but I think he deserves another opportunity at 11, because it'd be nice if we have 4 or 5 great wingers that we can rotate and we can rest, and some can play off the bench. So I think giving him another run at that position would be great. Now the big one. Decided maybe I'll bring in André Esterhuizen at 12. I really think he's an exceptional player, and a lot of people have chatted about him to say that he should be starting. He does bring that kind of physicality, the same as De Allende, but maybe it's time to try something a little bit different. Like last week, a lot of people liked De Allende. He was breaking the gain line and he was making the meters, but he was also giving away penalties, so it was a little bit of a stop-start kind of an affair. Okay, I brought in Jesse Kriel at 13. A lot of people might not like that choice. I think Jesse. I've always liked Jesse Kriel. I think he's played really well this season. I felt for him last year because he was really overshadowed by Jan Serfontein. But I think he's improved this year, and I like his running lines, and I'm hoping that he can get a start. I've kept Sibusiso Nkosi on the number 14. I think he's had a blinder start to international rugby. Very physical, gets over the gain line. So I think he's the right choice, and it's good to reward. Keep that going. I'll say if you'll try see, I've done quite a few changes, but I've also tried to keep a bit of stability. So like I've taken people off the bench and put them on. Yes, there are 4 players that haven't played against England, but I think having four caps or four new kind of combinations is not too difficult to be able to cope with, because at the end of the day, I still want to win the series 3-0. So I'm still trying to think of the best possible team that we can put out there. I've kept Willie le Roux at 15 because I think as he forms part of that spine. Also, I'm going to mention the people that I've suggested to put on the bench because rugby has become a 23 match day kind of game, and your bench is just as important as the starting 15. Gives you that last 30 minutes of where you have options, you can bring an impact, you can grind out a game, you can try bring on somebody maybe at the 40th minute that's got a bit more flair. So it's super important, the bench. So no particular order. I've kept Tendai, I've brought in Schalk Brits and Thomas du Toit. So that's the front row change. I've got a feeling Schalk Schalk Brits is going to play. Look, I don't think he's going to go. He might play next World Cup, but I doubt it. But I just think he's there more to bring RP to the team and bring a lot of stability, a lot of respect, a bit of age, that kind of stuff. I've got Pieter-Steph du Toit and Jean-Luc as the rounding out the forwards on the bench, because I know Pieter-Steph can cover lock and flank, and Jean-Luc can obviously cover 8th man and flank. So it's and they're both jumpers, so it gives you that. Actually, I'm not sure if Jean-Luc's a jumper. I know Pieter-Steph's. We definitely know Pieter-Steph's a jumper, but they're both impact players. They're both workhorses, so I think that's a good choice for the bench. Then for the backs, I've gone for Embrose Papier. Carry on with. Give him another run at thing. I haven't been super impressed, but we do need a decent backup for Faf, and we obviously got to start backing someone. So let's try have a little bit of consistency going through. Okay, maybe I'll leave that one for last, because the next person I've got on the bench, I've said Robert du Preez. Look, guys, I know he had that shocking charge down against Wales, but in all fairness, it is a 15-man game, and you can't blame someone for losing a test based on a kick. It just doesn't work that way. We shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. So, yes, he's got to own his stuff, but at the end of the day, I just feel that even though Yankees is generally the second choice after Handré at the moment, I just think it's time that maybe we try something a little bit different for that. And then I've got Warrick Gelant. With Warrick Gelant, I think I've watched him play Currie Cup. He's an exceptional rugby player. I've watched him play Super Rugby. The guy's just got phenomenal skills. I think he's going to be a superb Springbok. But he needs to come off the bench maybe 10, 15 games, maybe even a bit more. Some players can sit on the bench, come on 20 games before they have a start. I think he's the kind of player that we need to build up to that kind of position. To try to take that raw talent and just build on it. As opposed to just throwing them in the deep end, like when he was last year against Wales, when he was put out on the wing, which was just it was absolutely stupid. But yeah, he's got the skill. Just slowly build on it. So when he finally does start for the country, he's already got 15 caps or 16 caps. He feels very comfortable. He's already got most of his knowledge from Willie le Roux. He feels quite comfortable in that position. So yeah, I think coming Rugby World Cup, I think he'll be I'm hoping he'll be our bolter. Yeah, so not traditionally a bolter. Bolter, you're talking like only a couple of tests, but someone who brings that kind of flair to the game. I just think he just needs a bit of I don't know. I don't know what you call it, but it's try not to throw him in the deep end too quickly and just try to build them up slowly. In other news, so it looks like Warren Whiteley and Malcolm Marx will be starting for the Lions the weekend afterwards. So obviously they're coming through their injuries. I'm glad that I think they could have come back a lot earlier and maybe have made the June tests, but I'm glad that they didn't play. We needed a backup hooker. We desperately needed a backup hooker, and we've got one now. I know Duane Vermeulen, I don't think is going to be playing in the Rugby Championships. He's also coming off a long season, so he also needs rest. I think he might go playing in Japan. I'm not 100% sure what Duane's future is. So there is a place in the box for Warren Whiteley. Coming back to the captaincy, I'm not 100% sure if he'll take on the captaincy role coming back. It's something you have to earn. Again, it's like out. I still haven't found any news about Eben Etzebeth. Not 100% sure when he's coming back. I know there's been rumours every week that he's coming back, and it just hasn't materialised. So it would be nice to know any news on Eben. But yeah, there's I think we're very, very fortunate position that we can experiment for this final test. But like, yeah, guys, you know, if you don't like who I've chosen, you know, maybe one or two positions we can move out. Is there another player that you think should start? Yeah, and what kind of game plan you think Russie's going to come up with? How do you think we're going to fix our defence? I'm not sure. I think that comes with time. It's going to have to come with time. But yeah, those are my teams for Saturday. Look, I'll probably have another short little video once the actual team comes out. We can compare. But yeah, that's my team. I'll put it down in the comment section. The team I've chosen, and yeah, rip it to shreds or comment nicely on it. But listen, guys, thanks a lot for watching the video. If you got to this point, thanks for watching the whole way through. And please share if you like my video. Please give me a thumbs up. And I'm looking forward to reading your comments. Cheers, guys. Bye.